Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Guy Bourassa from Scandium Canada. Guy, how are you today?
I'm very well.
Yeah, and you've just gotten back from Asia. You were there with Quebec's economic mission to Asia. Tell us what happened there.
Well, it's very interesting. What organized by the IQ International and the Ministry of Natural Resources of Quebec, with the help of the delegation of Quebec. And also in Tokyo, we had the benefit of working also with the Embassy of Canada. So it was organized to try to, well, we're a group of about 10 companies, all in the critical minerals phase, and trying to sell Quebec as a good jurisdiction, a good place to come, showing advanced project. And we met with large institutions in general, but they were also able to organize a couple of private meetings for some of the companies. We had the benefit of a couple of interesting meetings in Seoul and in Tokyo.
I think government discussions is a good starting point for this discussion. I mean, earlier this year, China announced an export ban on scandium. Can you give us an update on that and how that is impacting Scandium Canada?
Well, it's impacting it positively as it awakens the numerous investors and the numerous large potential end users of saying, oh, gee, we're at the mercy of one single source. We should maybe put our act together and support the development on our own territory and take advantage of that situation that can be interpreted as negatively, but I see it very positively because that ban helps us advance discussion more rapidly with potential end users and potential large investors.
And speaking of large investors, Canadian, US government, I mean, Scandium Canada, it's my understanding that you are one of the largest primary sources of scandium in the world. Is that correct?
Oh, yes, it is correct. We're certainly the single largest and only a primary source of scandium in North America. So for anybody that hopes to be able to work out of and embark into the high performance aluminum scandium alloys, we're definitively a source to look at.
And can you give us any updates on, for instance, government support for you right now?
Yes, there is a very good mood and a good move from the federal and the provincial government, but I'll talk about the federal government. Everybody, I suppose, today know about the Critical Mineral Infrastructure Fund that was launched last year. It's a 5-year program, $300 million envelope every year. We have applied this year for a grant under that and in the phase pre-construction. So this year it was interesting because you had the opportunity to file a demonstration of interest, so to see as to pre-qualify your project and your request. We successfully were approved to final filing. We did that at the end of June, and finally we expect, like everybody else that has filed, to have an answer sometime during this fall, hopefully by the end of October.
Well, you've been putting out news regularly, and anyone who looks into your formidable professional background will not be surprised by this. But you just put out a news release about your alloys. It's very technical. Can you talk us through that on a higher level, please?
Yeah, it's interesting that you point to the high technical because I got some comments from my shareholders saying, I suppose it's interesting because you made a press release, but I did not understand one thing. So no, it's well, we're about to release a new one in a couple of days, which is going to be, I would say, more digestive, talking about our initial study of the matrix of replacement to help us focus on the parts that could be commercialized the more rapidly and the more efficiently. So we have identified, with the help of an engineering firm, the 8 different sectors with about 10 different parts that could easily be and rapidly be tested to commercialization. So we're very, very, very happy with the results of our aluminum-scandium alloys. We're also happy that we've been able to confirm all of the mechanical properties of our alloys compared to the single one currently on the market. We meet or we exceed that reference on all the mechanical aspects. So that make, and with less scandium content. So technically should be cheaper. But what is even more interesting is that the comparable we used still forms micro cracks on the cooling period. So there's a lot of potential use that they cannot address. So on top of being able to compete on the usual use of that reference, we can address a completely very large potential advanced manufacturing with our powders that cannot be competed with. So it's opening a completely new potential for these high strength alloys. So just keep watching out. We're going to be more detailed in a week or so, specifically on these alloys.
We'll have to do regular interviews with you too, so you can explain it to the audience. And speaking of that, in and during our investor talk this morning, one of the investors asked you about your timeline for production. Can you go through that again? I think that was very interesting. Thank you.
Of course. According to the 2 grants applications we made, we must be able to file the pre-feasibility study by June of 2026, which is not going to be an issue. Most of the work already being completed for all the main sections. Now we're going to be working on this to file a pre-feasibility study by the June of 2026. One of the grants that we are expecting to receive a confirmation also gives us the money, good portion of the money required to do the large pilot scale of the metallurgy required for the feasibility study. So if granted this fall, that would allow us to be able to complete at the latest for the fall of 2027, the feasibility study, and then be in a position to take a final investment decision. So at the end of 2027, we would be FID, and that's how we're going to decide how we're going to build and project finance this thing.
How about an update on the technology? I tell people all the time, many of these critical mineral companies are not, they're like, it's mining. I'm like, no, it's not just mining and exploration, but it's actually technology. How is that going?
It's going very well, very well. We'll remind people that we issued a press release on the results of the 500 kilogram metallurgical test that was done over a year with SGS in Lakefield. We were able to confirm the flow sheet. We're able to confirm that it's very good recovery of the scandium and also the quality of the total rare earth oxide as a byproduct. So it's an improvement from the PEA of 2022. It's definitively going to show on the OPEX of the project, and that's going to be reflected in the PEA. The feasibility study, what's going to be reflected is a 10 to 15 ton bulk sample that will confirm the engineering and also the recoveries at a much higher precision level. But with what we have done up to now and what we're continuing to improve, we're in a very good position as far as producing a high quality scandium oxide and an acceptable level of total rare earth oxide to be able to sell to converters.
And of course, you're intensely busy, but what should shareholders be looking forward to in this upcoming quarter?
Well, in the coming quarter, the main point for the shareholders is the announcement of the grants being granted. Obviously, we're talking of a total of about $11 million in grants. Imagine you have a 26, 25, 30 million market cap, and it's like if you had $11 million in the bank account to move to complete your pre-feasibility and move towards completion of the feasibility within an 18 to 20 months. So that's very, very positive. The other thing that they should keep focusing on is listening to what's happening with China. The more China talks, the more China bans, the more valuable our project becomes, because there's a lot of pressure by the different Western governments to accelerate and keep control or gain some access and create some control on the final output of these critical minerals project. So we are in a very, very good, interesting time as far as support by governments to move these projects. That's what we need, that's what we needed, and that's how we're going to deliver.
Thank you so much for your time today, Guy. And for those of you interested in Scandium and Scandium Canada, please go to the following website. Thank you.
Thank you.